So welcome Platinum members to another one of our weekly training sessions. This week we're going to be covering perfect area and turnover because they really go hand in hand. Perfect area will allow you to either map out the area that you're already working and you're able to take a look at it because you might have you might be working in an area that you say, okay, I think I should be doing better than I am here and I want to find out why I'm not. Or you can just simply map out a new area for yourself and analyze everything about that, including the types of property in there, who's selling in there, how do I accomplish that, kicking butt in that territory. So we're going to start by showing you how that functions. So we're going to click on the perfect area icon and click right on this, and it will take you to your map. And it'll basically open your map. We're in the San Diego database, so we're opening up around San Diego here. And what you're going to do is you want to see up here, you want to see this one listed as changed to circle draw because you want to be on a line drawing to map out your area, okay? If it says change to a line drawing, what you're going to get is a great big circle area. And that, it'll work, but it's just easier to actually map it out when you actually are on a line drawing. So as long as this says change to circle draw, you're good. That means you're on a line drawing. And now what you're going to do is you're basically going to map out an area, as I said, either one that you're working or one that you want to work. So we're going to go over here, although this is the downtown core, might not be too residential. So let's pick an area down here. So what you're able to do is to basically click on your map and it'll put a red dot. So wherever you start, you're going to click. And then you're going to go down to wherever you want to go. And we're going to go down here. We're going to go down here. We're going to go along the highway here. And we're going to do several clicks to get around this curve. And we're going to go up the highway this way. And over the highway this way. Until we get to a closed-in area. So we want to look at this area. This is either the area we're working now, and we want to know why we're not doing better, or this is a new area we want to take a look at. Or you got a buyer or a seller who says, tell me what's going on in this neighborhood, and you can map that out and find out everything. So the first thing we're going to do once we've mapped it out is hit refresh. This green refresh button here. This will actually add the number of sales that happened in there and put them on your map. So we can see that there was 95 units sold in that mapped out territory. Now, that's a pretty good area. It shows you that there's action in there, but it's not so dense and sold out that there's nothing left. So when you pull out, you can see that, there's lots of homes left on these streets to sell. So pretty good area. 95 units sold in there. Now we want to export it into our program because that allows us to then analyze everything about it. So we're going to click on export. It's going to now take that perfect area right into your program, and you can start to analyze things about it. It will automatically open a graph. But what I like to do first off is to look at what is selling in there. So you're going to go to your filters and go to type. It's going to tell you of those 94 or 95 units that sold, what they were. So 34 of them were 2 to 4 unit rentals, not rentals, but multi-units. And the other 61 were strictly residential units, okay? Now we're going to look here in San Diego and see if they got a style and see what those were. So 53 were detached, 8 were otherwise, 34 were likely those multi-units, okay? So we just want to know about the detached homes. I don't want to sell anything else. If you want to sell anything that's in there, you're not going to filter it, okay? But in my case, I just want to sell detached homes. So I'm going to now add that to my perfect area search, okay? So now it's showing us what's sold and detached. The first thing we want to do now is look at, again, how many units were there that were detached? 53 in that perfect area. The first thing we want to do before looking at graphs, analyzing turnover, anything, is go to reports and see if someone is dominating. You're going to click on reports, combined agents, and this will show you who sold those 53 units. So right away, we can see the number one seller was Janelle O'Meara with 5 units. So 5 of the 53, she's doing just barely 10%. And really, that's okay. What you don't want to see is the top, 2 or 3 agents doing 30 of those 53. Or if it's, 200 units, you don't want to see them doing 100 of the 200, because that really tells you they're dominating. And what that does is that anybody who's driving through that perfect area to and from work or to get their groceries, and they're thinking about selling their home, who are they going to call? They're going to call the dominant agents whose signs they're seeing. So that's why you really want to check this, because they're not going to call you simply because you put a postcard in their mailbox. They are, people are more predictable than that. They're driving through a neighborhood and they see Tom Smith is selling everything in their neighborhood. Well, if they want to sell their home, who would you call? I'd call Tom Smith because he sells everything in my neighborhood. So that's why you really want to check and see who's dominating, or if anybody is dominating. So in this case, she's barely doing 10%. I wouldn't say that was dominating. Once you've determined that, then you can analyze everything else about it. How many days on market am I looking at in there to sell detached? Not bad, 5 days. I like the looks of that. Let's take a look at the sold task ratio. Sold task ratio is 99.75, so pretty close to 100% of asking. Like the look of that. So you really go through your graphs, analyze everything about it, and then once you've determined, yep, that looks good, nobody's dominating, I like the area, now I'm going to find out how do I accomplish that. And you're going to click on turnover. Likely do it by zip and street, because sometimes you map out an area that's, cross 2 or 3 zip codes. So we're going to do it by zip and street and see if that was the case. Pretty much 9 to 102, and then we did. There's a couple of others in there. So what this turnover list now tells you is how to accomplish selling the detached homes in that perfect area that you mapped out. Those are the busiest streets from the top down. Agents are going to do one of 3 things when they hit this turnover list. Some want to tackle the busiest streets. Some want to turn this around and say, well, you know what? I'm going to tackle the least busiest streets in that area because there's likely to be more homes left for sale. If only one sold on 28th, that means there's probably 10 or 15 left that are going to sell this year. And some want to do it straight by price. So if you clicked on that average sale price, it's going to put the highest priced average sales up at the top. So you could say, well, you know what? I want to tackle only the streets that have homes of an average price over 400,000, and there they are, the top 17. So really just mapping it out, checking that you have no one's dominating, looking at your graphs, that you're pleased with the information, and then moving on to turnover and how to accomplish it. Now, in the States, it was a Florida agent that tipped me off to a company called Haynes.com, and they're spelled Haines.com. They have something called the Haynes Crisscross Directory. What they can do is if you give them the streets that you're looking to target, so if you said, okay, I'm going to do the top 10 here, you give them the names of those streets and what postal code they're in or zip code they're in, and they're going to be able to give you the homeowner and address of everybody on that street within that zip code or whatever area you're searching, so that you can then do specific mail outs, which I think are awesome. I remember, the house I used to live in Toronto, was in an area that was really prime. Real estates wanted to sell it. Every agent wanted to sell the area that we're in. So we would get tons and tons of real estate things in our mailbox every day. The ones that were just, hey, homeowner, occupant, I would toss those out immediately. If you haven't taken the time to know who I am, why do I want you to sell my home? So the ones that actually took the time and would write, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buffrey, hey, we're looking to sell your home, yada, yada. Those are the ones that I put aside. We never did sell the home, but there you go. But had I wanted to, I would definitely be selling by one of those agents and not one that was just dear occupant, So Haynes is really interesting company in that you can get that information from them, specific homeowners and addresses. And that's your rundown on perfect area and turnover. Okay, so now I'm going to open up your mics and have you guys ask me any questions if you need to. So let me just do that. Unmute everyone. Beautiful. So if you have questions, now's the time to ask them. Okay, you guys never want to ask questions, but I think perhaps that's because I do such a great job with these videos. Anyway, there's your information. Anybody have any questions? Nope. Anybody? Okay, well, that was quick and easy, a 10-minute video there on perfect area and turnover. And honestly, it's a great function to analyze anything. And as I said, you can simply go in. The next time you go in, you'll need to clear your map because it'll keep the information you had in there last. So if you're doing a new mapped out area, you actually have to clear your map and do it again. Okay? So there you have it. Sure. Haines.com, Haines, Aines, Haines.com. And what you're looking for is the Haines crisscross directory. So if you find them online, that's what apparently you need. And as I said, it was a Florida agent that tipped me off, and she does it all the time. She said what she does, she has our agent program, and it has a similar function called a prospect area. And what she does is she maps out a new area once a month, and she just kind of maps, hits, and runs. And so she'll do the mapping. She'll check the, in the agent program, you can't see who's selling, but you can see the numbers like this right here under performance. So she checks this to make sure no one's dominating. She does the turnover, hands it over to Haines, and targets an area, a different area every month. And she's having real success with it. She said, I'll usually get a couple of sales out of each prospect area. So that's awesome, you know, that she's thinking that far ahead to try different little areas every month. And, but that's what she does. She calls it her jab and run. So you can definitely do that with this program. Just map out a new area, and as long as no one's dominating it. And I'm going to use this example. I had a Plat here out of Toronto call me one time, and he had mapped out an area and did not look at the reports and went straight to turnover and spent a lot of money on marketing. He did postcards, flyers, newspaper ads. And he phoned me up 2 months after putting out that stuff, and he said, I don't know what's happening. I'm not getting a hit at all. And he's a pretty good agent. So I said, well, there's got to be something wrong with the area you chose then. So I looked at the area he mapped out, and when I mapped it out myself, and he was, you know, watching my screen, and I went to reports, he said, why did you do that? I said, why didn't you do that? Because what it showed was that there was 3 agents that pretty much had 80% of the sales in that area. So unless he was willing to kill them all, he wasn't going to get in there. So when he saw that, he was actually very shocked that he hadn't thought to do that step. And he really spent a lot of bad money. And so what we did is we remapped an area for him, and it was out in Mississauga, and we really just moved him over by about 3 miles and mapped out a new area, looked at it. Nobody was dominating. I mean, to the tune of nobody dominating. He spent good money after bad, and he phoned me up a week later and he said, you were right, I got a hit already. So it's really knowing, you know, map it out, but definitely look at this. Make sure no one is dominating that area, or 1 or 2 or 3 agents aren't really doing the bulk of the sales, because that can cause you to waste a lot of money and time. So there you have it. Anybody else? Okay. Well, I think, yeah, if yes, that's right. And in this program, you used to only have, you know, be able to narrow it down to zip codes. Now with this awesome new function, you can map it right out. So, you know, it's a lot more specific tool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, so that's what it'll show you in turnover. It's going to show you basically what streets are selling, you know, the highest number of properties in that zip code within the area you've mapped out. So once you've mapped it out, everything else refers to just that area you mapped out. So when you're looking at graphs, it's just about that area you mapped. And reports, just who's selling in that area. So it really is a specific target. Yeah, and as I said, before you used to be able to just do it to zip code, sometimes, you know, a neighborhood or a community. This way, as I said, you can just map out any area, any shape you want. Awesome. Yeah, so once I wrap up here, you can just give me a call. Is that Norberto? Yeah, give me a call and we'll look at your account and see what what you've got left on it and apply it to the price of this new version. Okay? Perfect. So thanks for joining all you guys, and I will, as I said, I'm recording this, so I will send out the recording to everybody who missed and to you guys as well, so that you can take a look at it again if you need to. Awesome. All right. Thank you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.